back to Philippines Uncut. I'm Buddy Cunanan. Tonight's topic is witchcraft, fact or fiction. And our guests tonight, Nick Nangit, veteran spirit quester, and of course Julius, Kia, Week, and Crystal Healer. Now, growing up as a witch, you guys were obviously different from other people because this is not a mainstream thing. This is very unorthodox, and it's not accepted still by many sectors of society. How was it? Your experience, like you meet people, you tell them, "Hey, I'm a witch," or "I'm into tarot cards," or I mean, how do you guys cope with the natural expected public backlash?
Well, in my case, it was just a secret at first. I never mentioned it until I got interviewed and became part of Spirit Questors, and my name stuck already. So people started to associate me with that. Well, it's a fact. I will not deny it. So there. But it's difficult to talk to people and well, you know, the usual joke like in the office is if they see me is, kinula mo ba ako or tulungan mo ako, help me, I want to cast a spell. So I just shrug it off. I say, okay, give me a part of your hair and I will do this for you. So it's just in the spirit of fun because it's so hard to explain it to them, right?
Julius, how about you?
Yeah, well, at first, like Nick, I was pretty discreet about it until such a time that what's fascinating right now, this I think just 90s or year, many people are getting interested about it, and even many of my friends are actually curious about it. So instead of being discreet about it, I share them what I know. Although at first they are afraid about it, but when they see me and when they see me do things or do rituals, when they see my stuffs, when they get invited to my room, then they help asking questions, how to do this, how to do that, what's this, and so.
In relation to what he said, we have entered already the age of enlightenment. Yes. The age of Pisces is gone. That's the last of the cycle, Western zodiac sign, and we have now entered Aquarius, your sign, right? So, okay. So there, it's more of people are now
more open now to this. Yes. Now, have you guys encountered people approaching your friend saying, "Uy, can you cast a spell for me? Kulamin mo nga."
Yes, many times.
People ask you really,
Yes.
Anong response? Sometimes do you help out if it's
no, I will tell them immediately. Like I will tell my friends, if I do that, something will be taken away from you. What are you willing to give?
Wow.
And then they will say, I don't want to give anything. Then stop it. Don't cast a spell.
Yes. What if it's a good spell though? Let's say if you want to wish protection on someone or
that's
good
okay.
health, then
that's all right.
Naturally it will also come back by your rationale.
Right.
The good will also come back to you if you do that. Yes. Okay. Now, when people talk about witches, they all automatically think about brooms.
Vacuum cleaners.
Wands. Harry Potter, right? Okay, so
it's my wand.
That one. So let's talk about the tools that witches use, at least real witches, modern day witches, to as you said, harness the energy and channel your psychic abilities. What do you guys use? And we have a spread in front of us. Maybe
let's start with your crystals.
Maybe let's talk about tarot cards first.
All right.
Because then we can talk about crystals and healing. So, Nick,
3 sets of tarot cards here. The first one, this one, is Osho Zen cards. Okay. These are truth cards.
Is it okay to touch them?
It's all right.
Can we hold them up to the audience? Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So these are what kind of cards?
These are Osho Zen cards.
Osho Zen cards.
These are truth cards.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. When I use that, I ask the querent, the person asked for an oracle reading, to pick one card. Yeah. And I will interpret that card for that person.
Now, okay, these tarot cards have a lot of weird or strange images in front of them. What is the significance of these images on the card?
Okay. We have to look at, for instance, this card. We have to look at it from the psychic eye, with the psychic eye. Like here, it's a patience card. All right.
Hold it up.
Yeah, patience card.
Okay.
And it shows a pregnant woman. All right, and the changing of the phases of the moon.
Okay.
So, when I look into this card, I interpret it in such a way that I immerse myself into the message being imparted by the artistic image. Okay. So, it's not literally that the querent is pregnant or the moon is actually changing. No, but it signifies waiting, patience. So you have wait. Because
Got it.
if you are pregnant, you have to wait for 9 months.
Okay.
Changing of the phases of the moon from full moon to the next full moon, you have to wait also.
So usually when you have a reading, you actually spread out
Yes.
several cards. How many? Maybe 4,
It
5?
depends, yeah. It depends.
It
And then you
depends.
kind of study it based on
Yes.
what comes out.
Right.
Yes, there are 100 ways of reading tarot cards depending on the practice of the user.
Yes.
But mainly, I think the most important element in reading cards is your intuition.
That's true.
Because you have to read it in your mind's eye, what images you see. And what's also fascinating about cards is that sometimes when you open a card, sometimes you'll see visions, which is actually not related to the images of the card. You just suddenly see things, and then that's how you interpret it.
So when you read cards, you go into a semi-trance because if you see
Yes,
visions,
it's
then
important.
Yeah.
you kind of go into a meditative
Meditative
state.
state. Like
okay?
what happened?
Meditative state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like what I like when I did a reading before.
Yes,
Remember?
yes.
Yeah. So that's true. What Julius said. We see visions. We interpret it in relation to these cards. You know, Jimmy Lecauco, Tito Jimmy, once said that tarot cards has a basis in quantum physics. There was a researcher, a European researcher, but I don't know the details anymore of that. So it has something to do with the, again, thought forms.
Okay.
So this one is the Osho's. This one is something peculiar, which I use only for the LGBT community. These are the gay tarot cards.
Okay.
And then this one on the right, on my right, is the most common, the
Yes.
Rider-Waite.
Can we hold those up? These actually look like the tarot cards I see in movies. Can
Yes,
you kind of
yes.
fan it out, Nick,
Right.
and show to the audience?
There.
Because then they have the typical the
Yeah.
images like death.
Yes, Death,
And,
the Pentacle,
Yes.
Wands, the Hermits.
So
other-
this is a traditional set of
yes.
tarot cards.
It's actually composed of the major arcana and the minor arcana.
Yeah.
yes.
Hold that. Let me just
Yeah.
fan it out again for the
Yeah.
viewer.
Actually, the origin of that, again, cannot be directly traced. There's those who say that it can be the Kabbalah of the Jewish, and there are also those who say that it can be traced back to the Egyptians and even the Chinese.
Yeah.
But there's this Duke of Italy, I think his name's Visconti, who used that for game. It's actually for Trionfo. It's a game of cards. But then eventually it was used not only that as a game, but for divination.
Yeah. Now, are tarot cards used for telling the future, or what do these cards tell you exactly when you do a reading?
Okay. Well, in my case, I don't read that. I don't read the cards to tell the future.
But you
It's-
can.
It can flash. I mean, the visions can come. But it's more of the person, the issues of that person's life. Yeah, the issues.
Okay.
Okay. So but it can also be used to predict. But it depends on the vision I get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, to read tarot cards, do you have to study this? I mean, you have
Yes.
to.
Yes.
How long does it take for one to be able to
More
read?
practice, right?
I have actually known people who naturally can
Gifted.
read cards. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes you have to still undergo workshop because, like what we said, aside from your power of intuition of interpreting the cards, you must also be skilled in the symbolisms of the card. Because sometimes, if your intuition does not work, then you just have to interpret the images in the card the way it is interpreted. And speaking about tarot cards as a tool of the witches, yes, it is one of the most important tool of witchcraft because, since in witchcraft we are casting spells, sometimes there's a confusion with the practitioner if she really has to cast a spell or not, or
Yeah.
if the spell really is appropriate. Sometimes you get that dilemma.
Yeah.
Now, to solve that dilemma and to know if it's really appropriate for you to cast the spell, then we use tarot card as our form of divination. So we
Like a
could
guide.
know what
Yes.
will happen if I cast this.
Okay. Now, you also have some other things here. Crystals. Are crystals also tied up to witchcraft?
Not necessarily, but crystals are being used by witches a lot. Basically because of its metaphysical properties and magical properties. Crystals are basically minerals, but what makes crystal special among other forms of matter is because if you look at crystals at the molecular level under electron microscope, you will see that all crystals, all of the molecules and the atoms in the crystals are packed together in such a perfect or orderly way, which is repeating. So that what makes
happen in
crystals,
nature, huh?
yeah,
Right.
special.
Happen in
Actually,
nature.
there are two ways. It's called nucleation, right? Crystals can be created by themselves. Okay, I mean, they just grow.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are those that can create it, right? Like solute
Synthetic.
molecules, synthetic, yes, solute molecules.
What are the powers of crystals?
Yeah. Well, like what I said, it's the metaphysical attributes. It's the physical attributes of the crystals that what makes it powerful. The orderly arrangement of the molecules of the crystals. So the crystals can absorb. Well,
They do. I mean, like in terms of healing
Yes.
or
in terms of
yeah.
well, crystals have been used also in technology. There is metaphysical and physical properties of crystals.
Okay.
When we say physical properties of crystals, we can talk about it as, in terms of their use in technology. Because crystals have different physical properties. Because of the orderly arrangement of the molecules, it has
Okay.
piezoelectric properties,
Okay.
or its property to transform energy
Yeah.
from one form to another. So, like quartz, if you apply electricity in quartz, it will vibrate or it will emit a mechanical energy. That's how watches work.
Yeah.
The analog
Yeah.
watches work.
Yeah.
They use quartz. So, in the same way that crystals work in the physical world in technology, it is believed that our body is also a big device, a big electronic device, because we have our own electromagnetic fields. So, so we are reacting to crystals because we are also like devices. We have electromagnetic fields.
And basically, we're made of energy. I mean,
Yes.
even carbon and,
Yes.
Right.
it is energy.
Yeah. So it's actually also going back to our earlier discussion. It's energy.
It's all about energy.
It's all about energy, which
Yeah.
we now direct towards the crystal, and the crystal, because
Enhances
of its enhances it because of its peculiar symmetry.
Now, Jules, these crystals in front of you, what is special about them? I see the different sizes, different shapes, different colors. Is there anything? Does each crystal or crystal piece have a unique property?
Yes, each type of crystal has its own unique properties based on its color or based on its formation or crystal structure.
Okay.
Because we have 7 main crystal structures, so it's still physics. On each crystal structure, it will form a different color or a different form. So
Let's hold one, maybe the most interesting one, and we can explain to the viewers what that particular crystal is good for.
Quartz.
well, this one is commonly used quartz, and it's famous because it's very neutral.
Yeah.
It can resonate to any type of energies because it's clear. It doesn't have any color, so it can resonate to any type of energy. So it can absorb, it can transfer energy, it can generate energy.
Unlike this one, right? This one, the pink one. Is this the rose?
Yeah, the pink one.
Okay.
And
For
then
love.
there are many varieties of quartz. It's still quartz, but when minerals comes in contact to crystals, then it will have a different color. So like the rose quartz, it has magnesium on it.
Okay.
So that's why that's responsible for the pink color.
Okay.
So
It's used for love.
it's used for
This
love.
is used for love. Now,
Right.
how does this enhance love? It's a phallic symbol. Like a
For
shape.
one, the color. You know, pink, the aura, color. Pink
Okay.
is actually the
No,
color
but-
of love.
How does one use a crystal like this for love? Like, let's say if your partner is here, then I mean, how do you hold it together and like you hold hands and you hold this in the crystal? I mean, how does this enhance love, for instance?
When we talk about how crystals work, we can I can't really separate the topic of the chakras or the energy centers
Okay.
in a man. The chakras, we most commonly hear that in one of the cartoons. Yeah, the Naruto, they have chakras. And it's actually true that we have energy centers. The word chakra comes from the Sanskrit word which means wheel.
Okay.
Because when clairvoyants or psychics see it, it's like a wheel that is swirling with energy, and it is actually radiating energy, and so that's what makes up our aura.
Okay.
The electromagnetic field, which is our aura, is actually radiating from our chakras, and there are 7 major chakras in the body,
Okay.
and each chakra is associated with the color, the 7 spectrum of the
The
rainbow.
Roy G. Biv.
Okay.
Yes, so each
Okay.
crystal is believed to resonate or to react on a particular color.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for example, your root chakra is associated with color red. So if you use red crystals near your root chakra, then it will balance that chakra. So when it comes to the rose quartz, it corresponds to the heart chakra
Okay. Okay.
or the higher heart chakra.
Yeah.
So if you put it if you put it inside your electromagnetic field, then your
Close to your body. Saying
yeah,
close to your body. On your
Yes.
body, close to it.
Yes,
Okay.
that's basically how you use crystals. You actually introduce the crystal into your own electromagnetic field, so your body can react to it.
So these crystals have to be close to you. I mean, for them to be to work. I mean, they have to be
Yes.
on your body or at least.
Basically,
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
yes, because it's actually the power doesn't really come come from the crystal, but the crystals are just tools.
To enhance again
Yes.
the energy of
But
the
you know,
person.
one
Yes.
thing,
Yeah.
because I think the televiewers should know also that they just don't buy the crystals anywhere.
You go to Baguio, you go to Mines View Park.
You have to cleanse it also.
There are a lot of crystals
because
there.
there are some crystals that have contained some elementals in it. Yes, that have elementals living in it. So elementals are those guardians of nature. So we have to cleanse it so that you can use it for your purposes. And one way of cleansing it is exposing it to the sun 24 hours and under the sun and under the moon, moonlight and sunlight. Or you can also dip it in water with rock salt
Yeah.
to cleanse it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you
Now,
have to cleanse.
how about healing? Are there any crystals here that can
This one.
contribute to healing?
Yeah,
green,
the
the
green
green crystal.
obsidian, yes.
green obsidian.
Green is the color of healing.
Can you hold up,
Yes.
Nick?
Sure.
So this is really for healing. This
Yes,
crystal.
green is the color
Okay.
for healing. And green obsidian, that's also a crystal, it's used for healing. In fact, if you have some problems, physical problems, you can imagine or visualize yourself surrounded by green, whatever that color
Yeah.
of green is. It
Yeah.
can be mint green, emerald green, and gradually it will enhance your, it will be curative, the effect on you. So long as you keep it close to your green chakra.
Yes. You know, this thing about crystals, I used to be also a skeptic until, some years ago, a friend of mine was telling me about crystals. And, for me, again, I was a skeptic before. And what he did was, he said, he took a crystal from his table, and it's just an ordinary table, took it, put it in my hand, and said, feel that. And it actually felt warm.
Warm, that's true.
Contrary to what I thought, because it's a rock and it's a crystal, I thought it would be cold. Actually, you could feel
Yes.
it was warm.
Yes.
So, it really is about energy.
Right.
How about this brown one, this amber color one, Julius? What is that
This is a
good for? Yeah.
citrine cluster. It's also a variety of quartz. And it is traditionally used to attract abundance. That's what
Prosperity.
this is
Prosperity.
famous of.
Yes.
Yes,
So I better get one of these, huh? Yeah.
Probably you can have one in your studio for
Yes,
prosperity.
yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Citrine.
for illnesses, if you're feeling ill, you're feeling bad, it's really the green one.
Yes.
Now, is that an all-around one? Like the green crystal is for all-around health, or like
Yeah.
say for particular illnesses there are
No,
particular
all-around health.
crystals.
All around health.
Yeah.
Did you bring a tiger's eye with you? Do you have tiger's eye?
Yeah, you have some other things here. What are these?
No, I don't.
You have
okay.
some stones here. Very interesting. What are these, Julius?
This is
A
my
little box.
little collection of crystals.
Actually, there's also another, the tiger's eye. It's for protection. It's very popular in Morocco, and when I was in Tunisia, they sell tiger's eye for protection. So if you have enemies, you keep it to yourself so that you will be protected.
Tiger's eye, and it's kind of like a brown
Yeah,
stone
with like an eye in
and
the
some
middle.
streaks,
Yes, yes.
brown and black.
Yes,
and
sometimes
kind
they're
of
blue
gold.
also. There are
Yes.
blue ones with the eye
Now,
for protection.
where can people go for more information about tarot cards and crystals?
Well, for crystals, there's the Diagon Alley of the Philippines.
Yeah, can go to Quiapo. Although it's, I believe that not every crystals there are genuine. So
Right.
you really have to bring someone with you who knows how
Right.
to determine true crystals. And we also have crystal stores in Chinatown
Right,
and
right.
Ongping.
Yes. For tarots, there's this new group, the Esoteric Society of the Philippines, that conducts also workshops for this. And I believe also the Philippine Wiccan Society.
Yes.
Are there websites for this?
Yeah, Julius has a website, Charms.
Yes. I have created an online group in Facebook. So it's called Crystal Healing Arts Research and Magic. In short, it's CHARMS. So it's for
Nice
all
name.
crystal enthusiasts. So if you're curious about crystals, or if you want to learn more about crystals, then
join
we talk
the
about
group.
crystals in that online group. And I also have another group, the Wicca Philippines. It's formerly Philippine Wiccan Society, but it's now Wicca Philippines. And it's not a coven, but it's a group of practicing Wiccans.
You see, a coven is a group, actually, a group of practitioners. So there can be a coven of one, like I am a coven of one, and there's like Julius, he's a member of a different
Or we
coven.
call that solitary
Solitary.
practitioner.
How big is your group? Yeah, how many people are involved in this?
Like-
Do you have a big following already?
In my own group, we are like 50 or something like that. But there are a lot of other groups in the pagan community. Not necessarily Wiccans, but they are practitioners also of magic, of shamanism, of metaphysics. We have a large group here in the Philippines.
And surprisingly, witches in the Philippines have exceeded 1,000 already.
Yeah.
They're in the thousands.
Wow.
They're just not open.
Of course. No, understandable.
Yes,
And
yes.
I hope with the shows like this, people will get more
Yes.
enlightened about witchcraft and
Right.
not think of it as necessarily an evil thing, a bad
Yeah.
thing.
You know, if they are also interested, they can get the books written by Tony Perez.
Yeah.
He has a book on Kulam, available in the bookstores. And there's also a book by Mike Duque, but it's more related to the spirit questing, Quests Beyond Existence. So if they're interested in this, because there's stories there also on these things.
Nick, Julius, last words before we go. Nick, you first.
All right. Well, I can say that a true witch will never do harm. Because a true witch is neither good nor bad. So, because what goes around comes around. So, it's a misconception that witches are evil. They are not. Okay.
Julius?
I would just advise everyone to be open-minded, because we have to realize that we have an unlimited potential that we haven't discovered yet, and those things, witchcraft and all of those practices, are just ways to discover your own potential. So if you're open-minded, then you can open yourself to all possibilities and discover your own powers.
Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your experiences with here on Philippines Uncut. And good luck to your group, and may your tribe increase.
Thank you,
you.
buddy.
And thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julius. So, guys, I hope you are more enlightened now about witchcraft and learn a lot about the show. And that wraps it up for part 3 of our series on the paranormal. Join us again next week here on Philippines Uncut. I'm Buddy Cunanan.